Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is International Life Revival Ministries, and my name is Praise Appianing, and I'm welcoming you to the Champion Summit recap. And I have with me here the senior pastor of International Life Revival Ministry in the person of Reverend George-Hermann Appianing. Welcome, Daddy, to the show.
Thank you for having me.
All right, Daddy. I have a few questions to ask you concerning our program. But first of all, I want to ask you, what is Champion Summit?
Thank you. Champion Summit is a conference that our church, International Life Revival Ministry, have every year.
Okay.
And 2023's Champion Summit marked the 14th Champion Summit conference. So it's about the conference we do every year since the inception of this church.
Okay. And when is the program normally held?
It's held in every last week of September. Every year, last week of September.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. So the just ended conference, how would you describe it in your own words?
Yeah, many people have described this year Champion Summit with a lot of words, but I will simply conclude it as a glorious Champion Summit.
Glorious indeed.
Yes.
Glorious indeed. I also had my I mean it was I wouldn't say the best, but one of the best. Now I want to ask you, since this was in-house, we had two main speakers, Reverend Oparijedu and you as well. Let's dive straight into the messages. You spoke about running a not-for-profit organization and its attendant difficulties. Now, I want to ask you, concerning your message, how do you get members to understand that the church is a not-for-profit organization?
Yeah, this topic purely relates to management staff. And management staffs are not taught in church.
Okay.
And so a lot of people don't know that churches fall in the non-for-profit category.
Okay.
And so, like I share in the conference, the church goes through a lot of things and don't realize that we are a not-for-profit organization, and therefore certain things that a lot of people expect and demand may not be feasible because we are not-for-profit organization. So the things that for-profit organization can get done easily, not-for-profit organizations cannot do that. So I thought that we must bring it to a fore for people to understand. And if you look at the theme and the scripture that it sits on, you understand that Paul them were going out to raise funds.
Okay.
Because the church is not for profit. So they were going out to raise funds to come and help Jerusalem church, and the difficulties that attended the fundraising and how the people of Macedonia understood the cause and gave themselves. It became important for us to use this management stuff to make the people understand what we are dealing with, so that it was proper for us to let the church know that there are three main organizations: for-profit, governmental organization, and not-for-profit, and the church falls in the category of not-for-profit.
So within the same question, I would want to ask, so since the main idea is not to generate revenue, how do you keep the people motivated?
Yes, like I shared that in as much as we are not for profit, we are serving, and every service mostly or largely hinges on money.
Okay.
And so the church needs money to run its activities. Now, you are asking of how church members are or workers are motivated. Sometimes it comes by verbal encouragement, patting people at the back. And where we have money to motivate people, we do, based on various support we have from members, from tithe and offerings and stuff like that. We do that. But the church has a potential to go forward to make enough money to recruit, because we must have a staff, we must have paid staff and volunteer staff.
Okay.
And so when we get there, we should be able to pay those who are on our staff and must be paid.
Okay.
And so the church must be brought to understand that this is what we are doing. And so we may need their input and their support to support people who run the services. All right. So that at the end of the day, those who are working in the service sector of the church will do their services to impact on those who are the recipient of the service, so that at the end of the day, the distribution will be even. And so those who render the service must be motivated. If it has to do with verbal motivation, we do.
Okay.
Encouraging people, we do. But where it calls for money too, we should be there to do that. So church members should appreciate that these are the categories of staff that the church must have,
Okay.
including ours. And so we needed to make this understanding clear for people to appreciate it.
Okay. So still on the not-for-profit. From what you said, now I understand that not-for-profit and for-profit organizations run things differently. Now, when it comes to the culture, do you think it's important to adopt the for-profit organization, the culture of the for-profit organization, into the not-for-profit organization?
Okay, management experts will tell you that running organization, the principles are similar.
Okay.
They are similar. Just that when it comes to rewards, the reward aspect may not be as the same as for profit or governmental, But then, if not for profit is able to generate the incomes they have to generate, they can support whoever they have to support in the at the staff level, because you cannot let somebody work as a paid staff in the not-for-profit level and you deny the person of his pension, for instance.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
Because yesterday I was watching a video and a Church of Pentecost was retiring some apostles and some pastors. They are going on retirement, and I don't think it is thank you for serving God, go home and be by yourself. I believe that the church has pension packages for these people. They go to the extent the church have come to the point of understanding that we take care of our pastors, because they've taken care of us. This whole business of church and pastoring is care business. You are taking care of people.
Yeah.
You understand it? And the book of Acts says that, or makes us to understand that when we take care of you, those who are cared for must also take care of the pastors. So in our church, we are working that understanding will come up so that people will appreciate that is the way forward. If we want to become a meaningful church, if we want to grow, if we want to do something significant, if we want to do something substantial, then it calls for the understanding of some of these things, so that we will come to a point where we understand that, okay, we are supporting our church to be able to pay pastors, pay church staff, for instance, paying their social security, working some pension scheme for our members, so that at least they will serve with that happiness, they will serve with that motivation. And when we do that, because it is the right thing, righteousness exalts things, like I have been saying.
Yeah.
So it will prepare the growth that we are yearning for. But until we do that, we will, if we indulge in the things we are doing, we will not see the growth we've always been yearning for.
Okay, thank you. So now I'm moving on to the next sermon. You spoke about structure and form.
Yeah.
Right. And I understand that if a church is not growing, it has to do with the structure and form. I want you to briefly explain what structure and form means to the church.
So let me go back to management again.
All right.
When you go to every organization, what makes the organization is structure. So we have something like organizational design and structure, and there's some do pyramid and other things, and you see the CEO of the various directors, or some call them presidents. So the director of finance, for instance, director of marketing, director of operation, director of this and that. All these things are there, and under them are the various departments so that forms the structure. When you come to church, it is not different from the for-profit organization or governmental organization.
Yeah.
In the church, it is the same thing. It follows the same hierarchy. But then, if that is not there, then you'll be doing things haphazardly. And if anything that is done haphazardly does not give you a concrete result or desirable result. So every organization needs a structure. And the structure is what gives form to what you're doing. Like I said, so the structure, the top man, the directors, and all the sub divisions.
Yeah.
And there are things like board of directors and stuff like that, who are the governors of the company, the governing body of the company. All these things come together, and church is not exception. So structure is what helps everything to structure, set the machinery for the machinery to operate, so that the day-to-day running of the kind of business you are doing is run perfectly. So structure is very important. It's key to every organization.
Okay, so my last question. When you look at the for-profit organizations, before they begin their services or before they start their companies, they plan, right? So I want to ask you, what are some of the factors you think are very important when it comes to starting a church? What are you to look at?
You see, to start a church, unfortunately, if you look at the Bible, both Old Testament and New Testament, there are examples that church starts without any structure and without having any idea of this kind of, and so they do something.
Okay.
And if you follow church history, churches have begun like that, including ours, have begun like that. And what I have learned from the Bible is that we learn on the job as we go. Situation necessitates the fact that we need a structure. All right. So the commissioning or the commission comes first. You start. A few people come, and when the people come, Now, because there are 2 or 3 or more people, you see that management must kick in. You must manage the people. But oftentimes, because the church is not in quote into management, and we think that most of us think that it's a spiritual entity, and so some of these things are not important, but they are key to what we are doing, because the spiritual aspect is taken care of: reading Bible, praying, preaching, and doing other stuff. But when it comes to doing church service, the various things we do must be organized.
Okay.
It must be planned out.
Yeah.
So we plan the service. We must organize it around the things we have planned to do. We must organize the things. So, for instance, we have planned that we will preach. We have planned that we will sing. We have planned that we will do worship. We have planned that we will take money, offerings and tithes. We have planned that we are do. How are we doing that? We must devise strategies to act on those things. And so all these things are done by the management aspect of the ministry, the church. But oftentimes when church is beginning, our concentration is on let's sing, let's preach, let's do the other things. And we tend to either we are not aware, and most churches I can consider that are not aware. And so sometimes even if the pastor is aware and you want to do it, because the people you are working with are not aware, sometimes there are a lot of resistance, because some people think that this whole thing is spiritual, and management is secular, something physical. Why you don't bring these things here? It's worldly. But listen, if you study Bible carefully and church history, for me, per the things I've learned, I realize that management and stuff like that are learned from the Bible.
Management is really important.
Yes, they are learned from the Bible. So we need to know them and apply them to help us to grow.
Thank you, Daddy, once again for the insightful message you have given to us. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sad to say that this is where we draw the curtains. And I was once again speaking to the senior pastor of International Life Revival Ministries. The name is Reverend George-Hermann Appianing. And this is the Champion Summit recap. And just like we heard, structure and form is very important when it comes to the not-for-profit organization. Now, if you want to follow the full coverage of the conference, I would encourage that you visit us on our Facebook platform, that is at Interlifer, and all our social media handles. Like, comment, and subscribe, and enjoy the content we have for you. God bless you.